Hello, today is the 8th of October 2025. Now, I have no business saying this and no excuse except for the fact that it's my own conviction. I was expecting it. I'm talking about the Pope and the eyes and all that sort of thing. When it happened a few days ago, I wanted to make this video, and I didn't think it was that particularly important that I did, and I was working on other things. But it seems to me that now that a few days have passed, is the right time to talk to you about it. I am sure that many of you suffer, as I do, from what could be called Pope fatigue. I don't want to listen and watch videos anymore that are criticizing the Pope. I have my own reasons, but I was expecting something like this. You see, we had, for the last month or so, we had quite a lot of commentaries and videos and things saying that great number of converts from England to the Catholic Church, from the Anglican Church, all that. And there was a constant theme for about a week about this issue. And having lived in England for a long time, I thought, okay, something is coming. Because I have noticed, I am a little bit of an outsider everywhere I go, and I have noticed that whenever something happens, especially in Protestant churches or something, that a situation in which the Catholic Church might appear not to be that bad, something comes and, my goodness, there you are, this thing or that thing. In other words, I am not obsessed. I have lived a long life, and I notice that whenever a situation arises where the Catholic Church might appear to be not such a bad thing in the Protestant world, that something is going to happen, and then So when I saw all these commentaries about so many people converting and this and that, I thought, oh my gosh, something is going to happen now, another priest, whatever. And then we have the woman who was elected to be the so-called Archbishop of Canterbury. And then I was sure that something was going to happen. Something negative about the Catholic Church. Why? Because a lot of, not a lot, I don't know how many, it doesn't really matter, but I suppose that a few Anglicans might think, some of them will be very happy and some of them will not be that happy about it, for reasons that you know. And so, just as this happened, that there could be some people who are not happy about the way the Anglican Church is going, I knew that something would come to put the Catholic Church down. I was expecting it, so I wasn't surprised when I saw these videos about the Pope and a block of ice, and the Pope blessing a block of ice, ha ha ha. And I said, here it is. because there you have a negative, let us say, something that can be used as a meme for the next 10 years. Now, what happened here? I didn't go into what he said, what he did, what the block of ice is for or is not for, not interested. I just saw the picture. Now, without knowing what that was about, I'm going to speculate. First, I doubt very much that the Pope got up this morning and said, I'm going to start blessing blocks of ice. No, these things are planned, these things are programmed, and it is quite possible that he was told, this is for this or that, or this is what we're going to do. Would you bless it? And yes, of course. And there you have the meme, the picture. That is what is important. And the laughter afterwards, and the putting down afterwards. One of everyone's favorite saint, Saint Francis of Assisi, used to go around doing kind of the same thing. I mean, he would see a little bird and tell you what a beautiful creature of God the little bird was, and the little ant and the little everything and the rock, and it's a creature of God. God created it, respect it, and so on. It is quite possible that I don't know what he was told. Do you bless it? Yes, of course. Water. I think that he was, in a way, tricked or entrapped in some sort of way. In other words, the people around him knew what was going to happen. It might be that he wasn't truly aware of what was going to be done with that picture. Pictures are being used, him taking a photograph with this person and that perv and the other one, okay, and then they use those pictures. When a picture with that Martin fellow, and he goes around showing the picture. And he met the Pope, and here is the picture, and so on. No one asks him, well, when you sat down with him, what did he say to you? What did he say to you? What was the conversation? That is not said, it's just the picture. So all you see is a picture, with the eyes. Who am I to tell the Pope what to do or what not to do? But I think he has to learn, because I think he has let me choose the word carefully, sort of a candid soul, let us say. I didn't say innocent. I didn't say sinless. I didn't say naive. I say candid. When you look, he has spent the most part of his life as a missionary in Peru, in one of the poorest areas, what literary men used to say, the wretched of the earth, And with these people, they will have their problems. Yes, they might be worshipping the sun as God, whatever. Okay, and they might be very violent, and all the things that human beings do. But I don't think in these situations they have yet been infected with nihilism. and sarcasm and skepticism and this thing about not believing in anything but yourself. Okay, they will have their problems, but they have not been infected with such. He spent most of his life with people like this, and he might not be necessarily aware of the knives around him, of the snakes around him. He will learn, obviously, but people of a candid soul, of a candid heart, their mind is matured, and you know, their intellect has flourished, and their organizational skills are very good, and they are matured as individuals, but in a way their heart is a little bit still like a child's. He will have to learn very quickly who is he surrounded by? Who told him to come and bless this block of ice? What was the explanation for that? What did they tell him? So I think that well, first of all, as Pope, he might be destined to suffer a sort of a heroic loneliness. But what did he expect? I think that Victorian saying, you know, the children are to be seen by not heard, has to be inversed. Holy Father, make sure that you are heard but not seen. Avoid interviews. Avoid the cameras. They're just there to take that picture, and then they will represent it as they wish and give the interpretation that they wish. One more thing. There are many so-called Catholic channels, YouTube channels, that keep pounding on the Pope. Well, as far as I'm concerned, looking at the political situation and the, you know how they say now that there is a woke left and a woke right, and those on the woke right that used to criticize the woke left, now they do the same, all this, okay? I believe that that is not just for politics. I think that there are many channels there purporting to be Catholic, and perhaps they are, but they are there to get him. The problem is that we are so used during the last, this awful Bergoglio papacy, for the last 10 years, we got used to hearing all these insanities that he used to say. And so we have become sort of accustomed to look, and what is the Pope saying, and what did he do? And I think he should stay out of it, of the cameras. If he has something to say about anything, I think his natural disposition is probably right, and that is to withdraw and to think about it and to write it and stop talking to the cameras. As Bergoglio used to say, is a bad habit. And they are there to, most of the time, or a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time, to entrap him. I trust him still. I still don't know why he is keeping a lot of people there around him. I don't think it is as easy as, just saying go. And these people are very powerful. We are not dealing with one individual here and one individual there. And there are perhaps quite a few considerations that he has to take into account. In war, we talk now about, for example, with Russia and Ukraine, we talk about, a war of attrition. What does that mean? I had to, wasting the enemy. It's not necessarily going and bombing and bombarding everything, the whole of the country, but it's little by little. However long it takes, it seems to be Russia's attitude to actually do away with the military. And so it's just, a continuous erosion of the enemy. And it could be that he has to have this into account, because we do know, and surely he knows, that the church has been infiltrated tremendously up to the very top. Yeah. So how do you deal with the enemies of the church? It's not those who are there to erode the faith. Okay, so I was expecting it. It did happen, and I hope he doesn't answer questions on politics. Whatever he has to say, write it down and be heard but not seen. Okay, moving on to something else. Today, I think today is celebration of Cardinal John Henry Newman, the saint now. I'm not reading Cardinal Newman, but I am reading Ronald Knox. The thing is that I started reading, let me show you, because I'm going to do a video on this, I think. I'm reading 3 biographies at the same time. And one of them is Evelyn Waugh. Yeah. And through this, another one is, I am sort of comparing, let me get this, huge books here. And there is this very interesting French poet, Baudelaire, yeah. And something, oh my goodness, no, I'm not going to, anyway, I'm reading 3 at the same time. But through the biography of Evelyn Waugh, I have quite a few books from by him, and I got his biography of the life of Ronald Knox. Extremely interesting. This was an Anglican bishop. His father had been an Anglican bishop, his grandfather. Anyway, one of those that after Henry Newman, yeah. He was born in the 19th century, but he lived until I think he died in 1950 something. Anyway, so I'm reading his biography, and let me just. The reason I'm talking about it is that going back to the Anglicans and the Archbishop of Canterbury and so on, this very painful, I didn't have to go through it, thank God, but this very painful path from Anglicanism to Catholicism, I say it has to be extremely painful because I can see it. I can see it in those that talk about it. these Anglicans that are there for, they believe they have been brought up like that, and they believe with all their heart and their soul that they are doing the right thing, and it is the faith and so on. Okay. And then things happened and they begin to doubt a little bit. Could the Catholic Church, after all this, be the church, all that? And it has to be, I keep repeating it has to be extremely painful if you have a sincere heart, to come to the determination that you have to convert to the Catholic Church, or be received, as they say, in the Catholic Church. And Knox was one of those. Extremely painful, and I'm reading through it. I admire them. I respect them. Because it can't be easy. And I have one or two just to show you. Where is it? Let me see, 146. I have a little something here. When after a whole thing, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, it takes forever. Oh my goodness, could this be possible, and so on. That first step, when they actually ask a priest, they're going to do it, and then they are not going to do it, and all that. Okay, some of you might have been in this situation, but I'm going to read you something written by Father Martindale, who's a Catholic priest, himself a convert, and he says just a little bit of a conversation that they had. He says that Ronald Knox came over to him. They were together in a meeting or something, and at the end of it, he came over to him very quickly, and arrived just as we were crossing the hall to dinner. He rushed up to me and said, "Can I speak to you?" This is Knox to Father Martindale. And I said, "Not now, obviously, but come up later when I shall be packing." And then he came and said, obviously he had been fighting this, but probably he said to himself, "That's it, I have to go for it." And he said, "Will you receive me into the church?" And I, said Father Martindale, and I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because I have come to believe that the Church of England hasn't a leg to stand on. I don't believe the Church of England has a leg to stand on." And I said, "But that's only a negative consideration. Why do you think that the Catholic Church has legs?" I remember this clearly, and being amazed that so logical a man didn't see that not being Church of England did not necessarily mean being a Catholic. I could repeat textually how the talk went on, but he seemed quite aghast, Knox, and ended by agreeing that he must produce something positive before he could be received. There are lovely passages like this. Another one, let me see. This is Evelyn Waugh speaking. He says, "In questions of intellect, untroubled by emotion, Ronald was ready for a scrap. In 1911, his close association with Anglican theologians of different schools convinced him that the prime danger to his church, to the Church of England church, was not Protestantism, but modernism. He foresaw that in a short time the Anglican hierarchy would allow all the disputed ritualistic practices with congregations wanted. Would allow all the disputed ritualistic practices which congregations wanted. He feared that their tolerance would be extended to doctrinal aberrations. The youngest men mentioned above, who in the event did rise to positions of authority, someone else, one to the Archbishopress of Canterbury, seemed to be drifting into a fog of skepticism from which it might be his vocation to rescue them. That is how Knox felt. I haven't read anything by Ronald Knox, and I'm going to. In this biography, he gives lots. He mentions many books that he wrote. Very interesting. One amusing, funny little story that he was going to baptize a baby. I believe that this is in the Anglican Church still, when he was an Anglican. And he wanted to do it in Latin. And the parents or someone complained. Why not? Why in Latin? No, in English. And he says a very amusing reply. He says, "The baby doesn't understand English," he once said with unusual vehemence when asked to perform a baptism in the vernacular. "The baby doesn't understand English, but the devil knows Latin." That's very amusing. Okay, so I'm going to do a video on, I hope, on Ronald Knox, and perhaps on Evelyn Waugh as well. Completely different people. My goodness. That will be another video. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.